Amongst the annals of military history, one name stands eternal, synonymous with the ultimate warrior, the Spartans. For over 2.5 millennia, their legacy has resonated, defining the very essence of a perfect, unyielding soldier.
These were not mere professional fighters, but citizen soldiers of the storied Greek city-state of Sparta, their entire existence forged from an early age for one singular purpose: war.
From the tender age of 7, a Spartan boy's life was plunged into the unforgiving crucible of the agoge.
This brutal training system was a relentless ordeal designed to strip away weakness, involving controlled starvation that tested their very will to survive.
Constant combat simulations to hone their lethal skills, and harsh trials of survival in the wild.
Only the most formidable, those who could endure such extreme deprivation and discipline, survived this rigorous gauntlet to emerge at age 20 as fully fledged hoplites, ready for battle.
Even then, their lives remained austere. They dwelled in barracks until their 30th year, dedicating every waking moment to intensive daily training. Their wives stoically managed their estates and households, while these warriors lived lives entirely consecrated to the art of warfare.
For nearly 2 centuries, the Spartans exerted an unparalleled dominance across Greece, their formidable reputation built upon absolute tactical superiority. This unwavering might was perhaps most spectacularly demonstrated at the legendary Battle of Thermopylae in 480 BC. There, a small contingent of just 300 Spartans, augmented by 700 brave allies, heroically held off an overwhelming Persian force of 150,000 for 3 agonizing days.
Before finally being overwhelmed, they inflicted an astounding 20,000 casualties upon the enemy. This casualty ratio, an almost mythical 1:95, remains statistically impossible in the annals of ancient warfare, a testament to their almost supernatural prowess.
The secret to their invincibility lay in the indomitable phalanx formation, a living wall of overlapping shields bristling with 2.5-meter-long spears. It was an impenetrable bastion against any assault.
Fueled by absolute discipline and an unshakable resolve, the Spartans embodied courage. They never retreated. Their oath was to stand or die, and they lived by it. Yet this very perfection harbored a fatal flaw: a critically small population. Only the sons of full citizens were deemed worthy to become Spartans, creating an unsustainable exclusivity.
The devastating blow came at the Battle of Leuctra in 371 BC, where they suffered the catastrophic loss of 400 elite warriors. It was a wound from which they would never truly recover.
Within a mere century, their cherished citizen soldier population plummeted from a formidable 8,000 to less than 1,000. Their extreme eugenics and suicidal exclusivity, the very tenets upon which they built their society, tragically led to its undoing.
Their extreme eugenics and suicidal exclusivity, the very tenets upon which they built their society, tragically led to its undoing.
The Spartans proved beyond a doubt that extreme training sculpts supreme soldiers, but their ultimate fate serves as a somber lesson. Societies built solely upon the crucible of war, no matter how perfectly forged, eventually run out of warriors.
Among the annals of ancient warfare, few names resonated with such mystique and dread as the Persian immortals. They were not merely an army unit, they were a living legend, the only military force in history renowned for maintaining an unwavering complement of precisely 10,000 elite warriors through a system of instant replacement.
Known as the elite guard of the Achaemenid Persian Empire, they earned their moniker Immortals from this miraculous continuity. The moment a warrior fell or was rendered unfit for battle, another perfectly trained soldier stepped into his place, ensuring the sacred 10,000 remained unbroken.
Their appearance was as distinctive as their discipline. Clad in formidable scale armor and carrying wicker shields reinforced with leather, they wielded short spears for close combat and elegant composite bows for ranged assault.
Their garments, richly colored and adorned with intricate gold decorations, spoke of their status. recruited solely on military merit from every corner of the vast empire. They were the ultimate fighting force.
These formidable warriors were instrumental in forging the largest empire the ancient world had ever witnessed, stretching from the sun-baked plains of India to the rugged coastlines of Greece, and from the fertile banks of Egypt to the vast expanses of Central Asia. Their campaigns were legendary, often accompanied not just by military supplies, but by an astonishing display of opulence, including luxury baggage, personal servants, and even elaborate harems.
Always at the forefront, they served as the unyielding vanguard of every Persian army, famously spearheading the assault at Thermopylae. It was their tactical prowess that allowed them to finally outmaneuver and flank the legendary Spartans after 3 days of fierce deadlock.
Across countless battlefields, they had systematically crushed the forces of Babylonians, Lydians, Egyptians, and the Ionian Greeks, serving as the ultimate protectors of the King of Kings himself.
Yet, beneath this veneer of invincibility, the immortals harbored a crucial, almost fatal weakness. This Achilles heel was their utterly inadequate equipment for the brutal realities of close-quarters combat. Their seemingly impressive wicker shields, reinforced with leather, proved tragically incapable of withstanding the formidable thrusts of Greek spears.
The elegant scale armor they donned, while ornate, was vastly inferior to the solid, unyielding bronze worn by their Hellenic adversaries.
This stark disparity became brutally evident at the Battle of Plataea, where the supposedly immortal warriors were tragically massacred by the disciplined Greek hoplites.
Their short spears, once effective, proved hopelessly useless against the devastating reach of the Greeks' 2.5-meter pikes. Ultimately, the tactical genius of Alexander the Great sealed their fate, as he systematically annihilated them at the decisive battles of Issus and Gaugamela.
The ultimate lesson was clear. Sheer numbers and even unshakable morale cannot ultimately triumph over superior military technology.
While the immortals undoubtedly proved the profound impact of psychology and reputation in warfare, no mystical name or legendary status could ever substitute for truly proper and effective equipment on the battlefield.
The Roman legionaries, a force unlike any other, were the very sinews that transformed a modest city-state into a colossal empire, and dominion that would endure for an astonishing 5 centuries.
Each legionary was more than just a soldier. He was the resolute backbone of the Roman war machine, a proud Roman citizen bound to serve for an arduous 25 years. Their brutal training was legendary. Daily forced marches spanning 30 kilometers, often burdened with 40 kilograms of gear, relentless fortification building under harsh conditions, and continuous visceral hand-to-hand combat drills that forged them into unyielding warriors. Clad in the iconic lorica segmentata, these disciplined soldiers wielded the deadly gladius, the versatile pilum, and sheltered behind the formidable rectangular scutum. Yet their prowess extended far beyond mere combat. They were extraordinary engineers, master builders who meticulously constructed the vast network of roads that crisscrossed the empire, the sturdy bridges spanning formidable rivers, the ingenious aqueducts channeling vital water, and the strategically placed forts that dotted the expanding frontier.
From the wind-swept shores of Britain to the sun-scorched sands of Egypt, from the rugged mountains of Spain to the ancient lands of Mesopotamia, Roman legionaries carved out their vast domain. It was a common sight for a single legion, comprising a mere 5,000 resolute men, to utterly crush barbarian armies swelling to 50,000 strong. This overwhelming superiority stemmed not from brute force, but from an unparalleled combination of iron discipline, technologically advanced equipment, and their brilliant, adaptable, modular tactics.
During campaigns, they possessed the incredible ability to erect complete, fully defensible forts every single night, meticulously complete with towering walls, watchtowers, and deep trenches. They would advance in the formidable testudo, tortoise formation, a shield-roofed phalanx nearly impervious to a deluge of enemy arrows.
Such was their effectiveness that Julius Caesar, with just 8 legions, famously conquered the entirety of Gaul against millions of fiercely independent Celts.
But this seemingly perfect legionary system harbored a fatal flaw, a brutal cost woven into its very fabric. Only Roman citizens were permitted to serve. When, in the tumultuous 4th century, the empire, desperate for manpower, began the perilous practice of recruiting foreign barbarians into its ranks, the legendary discipline that had defined the legions rapidly unraveled.
Moreover, maintaining these professional legionaries was an exorbitantly expensive undertaking. They were handsomely compensated with grants of land and precious gold upon their retirement. As the sprawling empire succumbed to crippling inflation and an ever-deepening fiscal crisis, it could no longer afford to sustain its elite fighting force. The once unified legions tragically fragmented, dissolving into a multitude of private armies, each loyal only to its particular general, rather father than the grand ideal of Rome. The greatest military machine the world had ever known was ultimately destroyed, not by an external foe, but by the insidious internal forces of economic collapse. The Roman legionaries, in their rise and fall, proved an undeniable truth, that organization and ingenious engineering will ultimately prevail over individual bravery. Yet even the most perfect and sophisticated machine, no matter how brilliantly designed, is utterly useless without the vital fuel that sustains it, in this case, the empire's failing coffers. But even the most perfectly crafted military machines require constant sustenance, fuel, and vital resources. It was in this crucible that the Mubarzun emerged, the revered Islamic champions renowned for challenging their adversaries to single combat, a gripping spectacle witnessed by entire armies. These elite duelists, whose very name in Arabic, Mubaraz, signifies those who step forth for combat, embodied the pinnacle of individual martial prowess. Before the grand clash of legions, a Mubarzun would gallop forth, their cries of challenge echoing across the battlefield. An opposing champion would then be sent to meet them, and thousands of soldiers on both sides would fall silent, their eyes fixed on the ensuing duel. Clad in full armor, wielding a sharp sword and a sturdy lance, and mounted on a swift Arabian horse, these champions often decided the fate of entire battles before the main engagement even commenced. At the historic Battle of Yarmouk, the Byzantine general Vahan's champion was swiftly defeated by the legendary Mubarzun Khalid ibn al-Walid, turning the tide. Later, at Hattin, Saladin skillfully used his champions to demoralize the Crusader forces. So effective were they that during the Crusades, Frankish knights often refused these duels, knowing that losing a champion could instantly trigger mass desertion and shatter their army's morale. However, this system had a fatal flaw: its dependence on mutual honor. When Europeans introduced long-range weapons like crossbows and longbows, mounted champions became easy targets. Richard the Lionheart, at Ars, brazenly ordered his archers to specifically target Mubarzun, ignoring the unspoken rules. Mongol guerrilla tactics also bypassed duels entirely. By the 16th century, with the devastating power of gunpowder and muskets, champion duels became utterly obsolete. The Mubarzun, once symbols of personal valor, vanished forever when the very nature of war ceased to be personal and became a matter of impersonal, technological destruction. In the annals of ancient warfare, few weapons commanded the sheer awe and terror of the war elephants, truly the living tanks of antiquity. Their colossal presence alone, thundering across the battlefield, was enough to sow panic and break enemy formations even before a single blow was struck. These magnificent trained pachyderms, originating from the fertile lands of India, were formidable machines of war. Each carried formidable towers housing 4 to 6 skilled archers, turning them into mobile fortresses. Weighing a staggering 5 tons and standing 3 meters tall, they were armored in resilient metal or hardened leather, their mighty tusks tipped with gleaming bronze blades, ready to gore any foe. Their handlers, adept and brave, guided these giants with firm hooks behind their ears, a delicate balance of control and raw power. Across the ancient world, from the shrewd Carthaginians under the brilliant Hannibal to the mighty Persian Empire, the formidable Indians, and even encountering the Greeks, war elephants inflicted unmatched psychological terror. At the legendary Battle of the Hydaspes, the sight of Porus's 200 towering elephants caused thousands of Macedonian casualties, leaving an indelible mark of fear. Years later, Hannibal, with audacious brilliance, led 37 of these magnificent beasts across the treacherous Alps, a feat that alone terrified the Romans. At the Battle of Trebia, their charge was utterly devastating. Yet, even these titans possessed fatal weaknesses. They succumbed easily to the fiery embrace of flaming arrows, their thick hides offering little protection against such an assault. Their immense strength turned against them when fear took hold. Panicked by fire, they would often turn and trample their own retreating troops, causing chaos within their ranks. The Romans, adaptable and cunning, eventually learned to counter this terror. At the climactic Battle of Zama in 202 BC, Scipio Africanus ingeniously created wide corridors within his lines. Hannibal's charging elephants, instead of breaking formations, merely galloped harmlessly through these prearranged channels, their momentum wasted.
Further east, in India, Alexander the Great's Macedonians employed 6-meter ceresis, their long pikes effectively keeping the charging beasts at a safe, deadly distance.
Ultimately, the saga of the war elephant proved a crucial lesson. Psychological weapons, however potent, often lose their efficacy after the initial shock. Enemies learn, they adapt, and in the end, meticulous logistics and strategic ingenuity will always triumph over raw, untamed power. The raw, brutal force of a warrior cult, though initially terrifying, often faces a fundamental challenge: adaptability. Enemies learn, evolve, and soon sheer power becomes secondary to the meticulous science of logistics and strategic planning. But then there were the Vikings. Their very name struck terror into the hearts of medieval Europe. Their relentless raids so devastating that a chilling prayer echoed through cathedrals and villages alike. God, deliver us from the fury of the Northmen. Hailing from the cold, rugged lands of Scandinavia, Norway, Sweden, and Denmark, these formidable people unleashed their wrath upon Europe from 793 to 1066 AD. Yet, to label them merely as warriors would be to miss the profound scope of their legacy. They were also shrewd traders, intrepid explorers, and ambitious settlers. Their iconic arsenal comprising menacing axes, sharp swords, deadly spears, and sturdy round shields. Their true unparalleled advantage lay in their naval supremacy, the magnificent Drakkar longships. These engineering marvels, sleek and swift, could effortlessly traverse both the unforgiving vastness of the open ocean and the intricate labyrinth of shallow rivers. This unique mobility allowed them to materialize without warning, descend upon unsuspecting coastal monasteries, pillage their treasures, and then vanish back into the mist before any organized defense could even begin to mobilize.
The impact of their conquests was staggering. They carved out the Danelaw in England, seized control of Normandy, and even established their presence in distant Sicily. Their entrepreneurial spirit saw them forge extensive trade routes stretching all the way to the opulent city of Constantinople. Astonishingly, their exploratory voyages carried them across the Atlantic, reaching the shores of North America a full 5 centuries before Christopher Columbus. The legendary Great Heathen Army, a formidable host of approximately 3,000 Vikings, swept across Anglo-Saxon England, conquering 4 out of its 5 kingdoms.
Beyond conquest, they were nation builders, founding vital centers like Dublin, Kiev, and Novgorod. Their strategic mobility remained unmatched, demonstrating a terrifying efficiency by raiding both Muslim Seville and Christian Paris within the scope of a single, audacious campaign. So fearsome was their reputation that entire kingdoms resorted to paying Danegeld, a tribute of silver, simply to persuade them to depart. Yet for all their martial prowess, the Vikings harbored a crucial strategic limitation: their inability to effectively hold and administer conquered territories. They were brilliant raiders, indeed, but fundamentally poor administrators. When they attempted to assert permanent rule over England, the astute King Alfred the Great successfully countered their power by establishing a sophisticated network of fortresses, eventually pushing them back.
Similarly, when they settled in the fertile lands of Normandy, these fierce Norsemen, remarkably, assimilated into the burgeoning French culture within a mere 2 generations, adopting new languages and customs.
The final, decisive shift came with the Christianization of Scandinavia, occurring primarily between 1000 and 1100 AD. This spiritual conversion gradually eroded the foundations of their ancient pagan warrior culture.
Thus, the Viking Age did not end in a crushing defeat on the battlefield, but rather in a profound, indelible transformation. The legendary berserkers, those fearsome Viking warriors known to enter a psychotic battle rage, feeling no pain and even biting their shields, became echoes of a bygone era.
The very essence of the Viking Age, however, was also characterized by its most fearsome and enigmatic warriors, the berserkers. These were not merely soldiers, they were elite Viking champions who transcended the ordinary, entering a profound, almost psychotic battle trance. In this altered state, they seemingly felt no pain, often displaying their terrifying fervor by biting their own shields in a frenzy.
The name berserker itself is thought to derive from bear sark, meaning bear shirt, referencing their primal attire of bear or wolf pelts worn into battle, embodying the ferocity of these animals.
Before clashing with their foes, these warriors meticulously prepared, employing rituals, perhaps even ingesting hallucinogenic mushrooms, or engaging in intense hyperventilation to induce their trance. The result was a terrifying transformation, immune to pain, imbued with superstrength, and utterly uncontrollable once unleashed. Without the constraints of formation, they would launch themselves into the fray, a guttural scream tearing from their throats, shields gnawed at in their primal fury. Sometimes they fought with minimal clothing or even seemingly naked, stripped down to the essence of their warrior spirit, relying only on their pelts and weapons. The aftermath of such an intense, otherworldly battle was equally dramatic, as these formidable warriors would often collapse into a deep, debilitating depression. Despite their chaotic nature, berserkers held crucial roles. They served as loyal royal bodyguards and were invaluable shock troops, leading the most brutal assaults. Legends abound, such as the saga of Ralph Crockey, where a mere 12 berserkers valiantly defended a king against hundreds of attackers. Medieval accounts paint a vivid picture of their individual prowess, describing berserkers cutting down 10 to 20 men single-handedly before finally succumbing.
Perhaps the most iconic tale comes from Stamford Bridge, where a lone berserker heroically held a vital bridge against the entire English army, felling an astounding 40 adversaries before finally being overcome, speared from below the bridge itself.
Yet, for all their terrifying effectiveness, berserkers were, in a sense, a single-use weapon. The deep trance left them utterly exhausted and vulnerable post-battle. Their uncontrollable nature meant they often disobeyed orders, a significant liability, sometimes even turning their frenzied aggression upon their own allies. As Viking societies gradually embraced Christianity, the pagan rituals and wildness of the berserkers became anathema to the new order. The church condemned them, leading to their eventual outlawing. In Iceland, for instance, berserker behavior was formally banned in 1123 AD. Society collectively recognized that these psychologically unstable warriors, for all their might, were ultimately incompatible with the structured command and societal norms of a Christianized world. Thus, these legendary, terrifying figures slowly but surely vanished from the battlefields after the twilight of the Viking Age. The era of unpredictable, berserker-style warriors was fading,
replaced by a growing societal need for disciplined command structures. As the Viking Age drew to a close, a unique military force emerged, a stark contrast to the individualistic raiders of old, the Jomsvikings. They were the only Viking military order known to possess a written code of conduct, mirroring the rigorous monastic discipline of later knightly orders. This brotherhood of elite Viking warriors established their formidable base at Jomsborg, a legendary fortress whose exact location remains unknown to this day, though historical whispers place it perhaps somewhere in Pomerania. Founded in the 10th century, their ranks were not open to just anyone. They meticulously selected only the most formidable warriors, aged between 18 and 50, each required to pass a brutal combat test to prove their worth. Life within Jomsborg was austere and communal. These hardened men lived together, shunning family ties, dedicating themselves entirely to the warrior's path. Their code was absolute, forbidding any display of fear, any thought of retreat from battle, or even the showing of battle wounds, a testament to their unyielding resolve. Vengeance for a fallen brother was not merely encouraged, it was a sacred, mandatory duty. All spoils of war, every piece of loot, was divided with strict equality amongst the brotherhood, fostering unwavering loyalty and cohesion. The Jomsvikings quickly became the most feared and respected elite mercenaries of their time. Kings across the Norse lands and beyond would pay vast sums of gold for their unparalleled services, recognizing the sheer power and tactical prowess they brought to any conflict. Their presence marked every major Nordic battle throughout the 10th and 11th centuries. At the infamous Battle of Hurungavagar in 986, a mere 60 Jomsviking longships dared to face a daunting fleet of 180 Norwegian vessels. Though ultimately overwhelmed, they fought with an almost suicidal valor, refusing to surrender, battling to the very last man. Years later, at the Battle of Ferris in 990, their strategic might proved decisive. They allied with Eric the Victorious, playing a pivotal role in his conquest of Sweden, further cementing their legendary reputation. They were famed across the north for their absolute refusal to retreat. When captured, these stoic warriors did not beg for mercy. Instead, they unflinchingly demanded immediate execution. Sagas recount chilling tales of Jomsvikings, eyes locked with their executioners, laughing defiantly even as their heads were severed. Such was their commitment to honor and the warrior's death. Yet despite their formidable legacy and fearsome reputation, the Jomsvikings mysteriously vanished from the annals of history in the early 12th century. The exact reasons for their disappearance remain shrouded in enigma. Some theories suggest Jomsborg itself was swallowed by devastating storms, perhaps a wrathful sea consuming their stronghold. Others posit they were entirely annihilated in battle, a consequence of their unyielding, often suicidal code of honor. Still more speculate they were eventually absorbed into the emerging Christian knightly orders of the era, their pagan roots giving way to a new religious discipline. To this day, the fortress of Jomsborg has never been conclusively found, leading some to believe it may have been entirely legendary. Nevertheless, the influence of the Jomsvikings was undeniably real and profound. Their unique model of disciplined, communal warriors inspired later medieval military orders, such as the revered Knights Templar and the formidable Teutonic Knights. They shattered the conventional perception of Vikings, proving that Norse warriors were capable of a level of military discipline and strategic organization that rivaled even the legendary legions of Rome. From the crucible of the Crusades emerged extraordinary military orders, none more legendary than the Knights Templar. These warrior monks, an elite Catholic brotherhood founded in 1119, combined fervent religious devotion with unparalleled martial prowess. Their sacred mission to safeguard pilgrims journeying to the Holy Land. Each Templar knight swore solemn vows of poverty, chastity, and unwavering obedience, distinguishing themselves visually with pristine white mantles emblazoned with a bold red cross, a symbol of their sacrifice and faith. A sophisticated hierarchy governed their ranks, comprising seasoned knights, influential nobles, steadfast sergeants, dedicated commoners, and spiritual chaplains.
Their power grew exponentially, marked by the construction of formidable fortresses that dotted the landscapes of both Europe and the Middle East. At the zenith of their influence, the Templars boasted a staggering 20,000 members and held sway over an impressive 870 castles and strongholds, a testament to their unparalleled organizational might and territorial command.
Indeed, the Templars stood as the undisputed elite military force of the Crusades, their unwavering courage unmatched.
A legendary testament to their might occurred at the Battle of Montgessard in 1177, where a mere 500 Templars, alongside 3,000 Crusaders, achieved an astonishing victory, decisively defeating 26,000 of Saladin's seasoned troops.
Their combat philosophy was absolute. Surrender was never an option, and they were sworn to fight to the last breath. Their strict code of honor forbade both ransom and retreat without explicit orders. In every Crusader battle, the Knights Templar fearlessly formed the vanguard, leading the charge and absorbing the brunt of the enemy's assault. Beyond their formidable military might, the Templars were pioneers of an ingenious proto-banking system. Pilgrims, before embarking on their perilous journeys, could safely deposit their funds in Templar houses in Paris. In return, they received a credit note, a revolutionary form of financial security, allowing them to conveniently withdraw their money upon arrival in Jerusalem or other Holy Land destinations.
This innovative system quickly transformed the Knights Templar into Europe's most influential and powerful bankers, controlling vast sums of wealth. Ironically, the very financial power that propelled them to such prominence would ultimately sow the seeds of their destruction.
The burgeoning wealth of the Templars, however, drew the envious eye of powerful monarchs. King Philip IV of France, heavily indebted to the order, saw an opportunity to seize their riches and eliminate a formidable independent power within his realm.
On a fateful Friday, October 13th, 1307, King Philip orchestrated a shocking simultaneous arrest of every Templar across France.
Under duress and torture, they were forced to confess to fabricated charges of heresy, idolatry, and unspeakable acts, paving the way for their brutal suppression.
The ultimate tragedy befell the last Grand Master, Jacques de Molay. In 1314, after years of agonizing imprisonment and false accusations, he was led to the pyre and burned at the stake. As the flames consumed him, legend holds that Jacques de Molay uttered a powerful, chilling curse upon both King Philip IV and Pope Clement V, summoning them to meet him before God's judgment within the year. Eerily, both the king and the pope died within months of his execution, adding a supernatural dimension to the Templars' demise. The order itself had been officially dissolved by papal decree in 1312, its vast wealth seemingly vanishing into thin air.
The immense Templar fortune vanished without a trace, sparking centuries of speculation and intrigue. To this very day, legends of hidden Templar treasure persist, fueling countless quests and captivating imaginations, an enduring mystery from a powerful order that reshaped both warfare and finance before its dramatic fall.
From the annals of ancient Japan emerged the samurai, a warrior class unlike any other, bound by an unwavering code that demanded ritual suicide or seppuku if dishonor threatened their existence.
For 7 long centuries, their descendants held sway over the Japanese archipelago, weaving their legacy into the very fabric of the nation.
Born into a life of discipline, the samurai meticulously followed Bushido, the way of the warrior, a philosophy that championed absolute loyalty, rigorous self-control, and an honorable death over mere survival. From their tenderest years, they were rigorously trained in every martial art, the precise art of swordsmanship, the deadly accuracy of archery, the formidable reach of spear fighting, and the raw power of unarmed combat. Their formidable presence was further enhanced by their distinctive Uri armor, intricate plates of metal expertly laced together with vibrant silk cords, a fusion of protection and artistry. Beyond the battlefield, their fealty to their daimyo, the feudal lords, was absolute and unconditional. Yet their identity transcended mere martial prowess. These elite warriors were also accomplished administrators, refined poets, and serene masters of the tea ceremony, embodying a rare blend of strength and culture.
Through sheer martial superiority and a strictly enforced social hierarchy, the samurai reigned supreme for over 700 years. A defining moment in their history was the monumental Battle of Sekigahara, where an astonishing 160,000 samurai clashed in a desperate struggle for the ultimate control of Japan. From this maelstrom of steel and ambition, Tokugawa Ieyasu emerged triumphant, ushering in a powerful shogunate that would endure for an astonishing 268 years, a testament to his military genius and strategic vision. Their legacy also included the miraculous repelling of two formidable Mongol invasions in 1274 and 1281. On both occasions, colossal typhoons rose from the seas, utterly destroying the Mongol fleets and giving birth to the enduring myth of the divine wind, or kamikaze, protecting Japan. Legendary sword masters, such as the peerless Miyamoto Musashi, further solidified their mystique, dispatching dozens of opponents in celebrated duels, each strike a testament to their unparalleled skill. Bushido's ultimate decree was seppuku, a ceremonial act of self-disembowelment, an escape from capture or unbearable dishonor. Yet the final chapter of the samurai was not written by a rival army or a grand battle, but by the relentless march of modernization. The enlightened Meiji Restoration swiftly moved to dismantle their ancient class, stripping them of their privileges. The revered katana, the very soul of the samurai, was outlawed from public carrying, and a modern conscript army, equipped with new technologies, replaced their traditional warrior ways. The samurai's desperate, valiant last stand came in the Satsuma Rebellion. Here, 40,000 traditional warriors, armed with their ancestral blades, faced a newly formed national army comprised largely of peasants, but wielding rifles and artillery. The clash was tragically brief and decisive. The modern firepower prevailed, leading to the heartbreaking demise of thousands.
Their charismatic rebel leader, Saigo Takamori, upholding the code to his final breath, committed seppuku amidst the chaos. The era of the katana was irrevocably ended by the cold efficiency of machine guns. A 1,000-year warrior culture, steeped in tradition and honor, was swept away in less than a decade, a poignant testament to the relentless advance of technology over tradition.
The proud warrior, Saigo Takamori, faced the inevitable end, choosing honor over defeat by committing seppuku. In a stark display of changing warfare, the swift, deadly katana proved powerless against the relentless fire of modern machine guns, effectively bringing a 1,000-year-old warrior culture to a brutal, abrupt end within a mere decade. As one age of warriors faded, another, far more sinister, rose. The Waffen-SS, the infamous Nazi elite troops, emerged as a force defined by a chilling paradox. Their unwavering battlefield prowess and suicidal fanaticism were matched only by the horrific atrocities they committed. Formed in 1939 as Adolf Hitler's personal guard, the Waffen-SS rapidly grew from an ideological paramilitary group into a formidable military branch of the Nazi SS. Its ranks swelled to an astonishing 38 divisions, comprising nearly 1 million fanatical soldiers. Recruitment was ruthlessly selective, demanding pure Aryan descent, a minimum height of 1.78 meters, and even perfect teeth, all embodying a twisted ideal of racial superiority. These elite units were granted superior equipment compared to the regular Wehrmacht, with divisions like the Leibstandarte, Das Reich, and Totenkopf spearheading every major campaign, their unwavering loyalty pledged not to Germany itself, but solely to their Führer. The Waffen-SS quickly forged a fearsome and brutal military reputation across the war-torn landscapes of Europe. On the unforgiving Eastern Front, SS divisions became known for their unyielding resolve, often holding critical lines even as the regular Wehrmacht forces were compelled to retreat. During the titanic Battle of Kursk, the Leibstein-Dart Division achieved a staggering penetration of 80 kilometers into entrenched Soviet defenses. Later, in the desperate fighting of Normandy, the 12th SS Hitler Youth Division, comprised of fanatical teenagers aged just 16 to 18, heroically, or perhaps tragically, held off the seasoned British forces for weeks, often fighting literally to the death. Casualty rates exceeding 90% were shockingly common among their ranks, and such was their notoriety that Soviet forces frequently executed captured SS prisoners on sight. They were, in essence, ideological fanatics, utterly willing to sacrifice their lives for the twisted concept of a master race. Yet, beneath this veneer of fanatical loyalty and combat effectiveness lay a horrifying reality. The Waffen-SS were also proven perpetrators of egregious war crimes. At Malmedy, Belgium, they cold-bloodedly executed 84 American prisoners of war. The Totenkopf Division, infamous for its brutality, massacred nearly 100 British prisoners at Les Paradis. Their involvement in the Holocaust, specifically the systematic murder of 1.5 million Jews, branded them forever as architects of unimaginable suffering. After the war's end, at the historic Nuremberg trials, the Waffen-SS was officially declared a criminal organization, and its surviving members faced justice, with many executed or condemned to long prison sentences for their heinous acts. But amidst the brutal aftermath of war's darkest chapters, another tale of astonishing resilience and military ingenuity emerged from the frigid north. The Finnish snipers, a force of unparalleled determination, waged a desperate defense, inflicting a staggering 700,000 Soviet casualties within a mere 100 days during the most unforgiving winter of the 20th century. These were not highly trained special forces, but ordinary citizen soldiers, farmers, hunters, and woodsmen, driven by an unwavering resolve to protect their beloved homeland against a monumental invasion. Their arsenal was simple yet deadly effective, the trusty Mosin-Nagant rifle, often without the aid of a scope, coupled with agile skis and pristine white camouflage that allowed them to melt seamlessly into the snow-covered landscape. Their profound, intimate knowledge of the vast, silent Finnish forests became their greatest weapon. Employing cunning guerrilla tactics, they executed swift ambushes from hidden positions, launched daring night attacks, and vanished like phantoms into the snow, leaving their bewildered enemy to face an unseen terror.
These warriors endured and fought valiantly in temperatures plummeting to a soul-numbing -40 degrees Celsius, a climate that would break lesser armies.
Against Finland's modest force of 300,000 soldiers, the Soviet Union unleashed an overwhelming invasion of 1 million. Yet, through sheer skill and bravery, the Finnish snipers achieved what seemed statistically impossible in conventional warfare, causing 5 to 7 Soviet casualties for every single Finn lost. At the heart of this legend stood Simo Häyhä, a name whispered in fear and respect, known as the White Death. With an unwavering hand and only an iron sight rifle, he alone accounted for 505 confirmed Soviet kills in that same brutal 100-day period. The terrified Soviets, facing an invisible enemy, soon coined a chilling moniker for the Finns: White Ghosts. In total, the Red Army suffered a catastrophic 700,000 troops killed, wounded, captured, or simply frozen solid. Finland, in comparison, lost a somber 70,000. Soviet propaganda, once mighty, crumbled under the weight of such an unprecedented defeat, its narrative collapsing worldwide. However, brute numbers and relentless waves of attackers can sometimes overcome even the most ingenious strategies and formidable geography, eventually. The Soviets,
undeterred, reinforced their assault with an additional 1.5 million troops. Outmatched and depleted of both ammunition and international allies, Finland faced an agonizing choice. They ultimately signed a peace treaty, ceding a significant 11% of their cherished territory, yet crucially, they retained their independence. Finland stands alone as the only nation invaded by Stalin that ultimately remained free.
In a later conflict, the Continuation War, Finland found itself allied with Germany against the Soviet Union, but steadfastly refused to partake in any atrocities. Demonstrating remarkable diplomatic acumen, they negotiated a separate peace, thereby successfully navigating and surviving between the two titanic superpowers of the era.
Before we delve into our next profound analysis, please remember to show your support by liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more historical insights.
Now prepare yourselves, for we journey to the brutal heart of the Eastern Front.
We are about to witness the unimaginable struggle of Stalingrad, a monumental clash where over 2 million souls fought relentlessly for control of a single city.
For 5 grueling months, through the unforgiving grip of winter, the German and Soviet forces engaged in a horrific, attritional battle, forever etching its name into the annals of human suffering and strategic genius.